Okay, today we are back for another video, and this is from a little bit similar to 1992, the 1992 video, which if you haven't seen yet, you should go check it out right now. But first, stay here because this video is from that. Here are the results of the 1912 election. It was Woodrow Wilson versus William Taft. But who is this who did better than the Republican Party itself? He ran a third-party campaign, and his name is Theodore Roosevelt. He was from the Progressive Party, better known as the Bull Moose Party. He was the 26th president, and he asked Taft to run for president after him because he liked him at the time, but after that, Theodore Roosevelt didn't like much of Taft's new policies, so he decided to run against him in 1912, but the Republicans still liked Taft, so they basically were like to Roosevelt, "No, you can't run, we're nominating Taft." So Roosevelt made his own party called the Bull Moose Party, and the Democrats took on a landslide victory because the Republican vote was split. Like 1992. And like the 1992 video, we're checking out if Theodore Roosevelt did not run, how would the election change? Okay, I'm deleting him right now. Okay, so first of all, Taft would not lose the states he did, and Taft was a progressive, just not as big as one as Roosevelt was. So without a better choice, these states that voted for Roosevelt would now go to him. Oh, by the way, this is where I went the time you need 266 to win. 266 electorals to win. Okay, I'm just going to put all the states that did not vote for Taft as toss-up. And at the end, we're also going to be checking out if this was the electoral map today, how would the election play out, just like we did in Ross Perot. Okay, so let's start with Maine, 6 electorals at the time. So, first of all, here Woodrow Wilson barely won, so Taft would carry this state now. New Hampshire, with its 4 electorals. It has not gained, it is modern day. He barely carried this, Woodrow Wilson barely carried this. We're going to look to Massachusetts, which was a very big state at the time, 18 electorals. That is the same as Ohio today. He again barely won Massachusetts. So right now things are looking good for Taft. He's sweeping across the Northeast, but will he be able to win the presidency? That is the question. We're looking at Rhode Island, 5 electorals at the time. He barely lost Rhode Island. So how the pattern is going right now is he's barely losing these New England states, so they'd be flipped without Theodore Roosevelt. And in this, we're also going to assume that Theodore Roosevelt still supports Taft. He'd be able to win Connecticut. Connecticut would actually be a pretty safe win for him, but even though he lost this state, but now it would be a safe win. Same thing with New Jersey. Not a safe win, I'd say a likely win. About 10% margin. Okay, Delaware here. Yeah, Delaware going him, barely though. So far he's going through New England, going through the Northeast region. But here in Maryland, Woodrow, they'd still support Wilson. Barely, but they'd still support him. Okay, we're going to go to New York now. New York at the time was very influential. As you can see, it has 45 electorals. Basically the California then back in the day. And basically it would be a very bare win for Taft, barely winning the state. So very hard, but he's still doing pretty good. 266 to win. He's at 198. West Virginia. West Virginia would still go to Wilson, barely. Virginia would go to him, seeing as that was his home state. They voted for him in a landslide, absolute landslide. And in all these southern states strongly supported him. Why did they strongly support him, you may ask? It's because Woodrow Wilson was a segregationist, and he supported banning African Americans from holding government office. These were also segregationist states, and Theodore Roosevelt was the first president to invite an African American to the White House. So you can say, particularly not liked. Taft would not be liked in the South at all. Even if we give that, he'd take the... Actually, I think New Mexico would be a toss. I'm going to do that for now. So these states I'm giving all to Wilson. Now, Ohio, which at the time is 24. Basically, they're Florida back in the day. Taft would be able to win this, so great win for him, seeing as that was their Florida version. Okay, Indiana, he'd also win. We're going to look at Illinois. These three states were actually swing states back then, very important. Now they're not even close, except for Ohio. Ohio still is a swing state. Okay, he's reached 266. So Taft will win the election. Though he will win the election. Wisconsin, he barely lost. He'll be able to carry Wisconsin as well. Missouri, I think would stay with Wilson. Yeah, Wilson keeps Missouri, Iowa. All these states are staying with Wilson. The rest of this would go to Taft. Yeah, the rest of the West would go all to Taft. So there we have it. 310, not a landslide, not a big slide or anything, but still pretty good, not bad at all. Okay, now we're going to clear this and we're going to see if these two faced off today in an election with today's electoral map, who wins? Okay, delegates, We're not going to include districts in this scenario. Okay, I'm going to first do the safe states. So one thing, as I said, Wilson is a segregationist, which means that Taft has a serious chance of winning right now in this election, because he can drive out the African American vote. And if you think about it, I'd say that Woodrow Wilson in today would actually be considered about in the middle, a moderate. I'd say he'd be about considered a centrist today, but for this video, we're going to put him as a Democrat. These states are safe states. Okay, now, immediately Taft can win Texas, Arizona, Georgia, because as I said, African American vote. Ohio as well. Okay, now Michigan also has large amounts of African Americans, so I'm going to give that to him as well. Okay, Woodrow Wilson. I think North Carolina will stay with him. Florida as well. 269 he's reached. Nevada, I'd say go to Wilson. Oh, come on. Iowa would go to Taft, so he has one. I'd say these rest of the states would go to Wilson. So barely win for Taft. That is it for this video.